If you just got started with vegan baking, you're probably Googling recipes and seeing a lot of ingredients that are very obscure and you never heard of before, like agar-agar, nutritional yeast, xanthan gum. Where do you even find that stuff? Before you head over to the store, let me just tell you, you don't actually need any of this to do vegan baking. In this video, I already told you that, and today I am sharing what you actually need in terms of ingredients to get started with vegan baking. And spoiler alert, it doesn't require an extra trip to the specialty health food store. And if you're wondering, how do you know what I need? Well, you must be new around here. Hi, I'm Natalia Lima, founder and owner of Curious Cat Bakery, an all-vegan bakery where I make everything taste just like or better than the real deal. But not so long ago, I was in your shoes. I was just getting started, I had no idea what I was doing, and I was eating a lot of really bad cake. See, now that I've cracked the code, this is the place where I share my recipes, hacks, and tips. So if that's something you're into, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I also have a free guide for successful vegan baking with the tips that I wish somebody had given me when I was just getting started. You can download that through the link in the description below. All right, now that we've covered all of that, let's get to those ingredients that you actually need to get started with vegan baking. In this video, I'm gonna tell you, 1, why you actually don't need all of those fancy, obscure, and expensive ingredients you're seeing on those recipes online. 2, what are the basic ingredients that you actually need for vegan baking? 3, what replacements you're going to need? 4, where you can find all of those ingredients. And 5, it's a little bit of a bonus, I'm gonna be sharing my tips for picking and making great beginner recipes. Are you ready? Let's do this. Okay, so number 1, why you actually don't need those fancy, expensive, and obscure ingredients. When you see that in a recipe, run. Not joking, that's a major red flag that this recipe is not for you as a beginner, because those ingredients like coconut sugar or xanthan gum are usually used for something that's not just to make something vegan, but also to make it have less sugar or be gluten-free. To actually do vegan baking, you don't need anything specialized. All you're getting rid of is eggs and dairy and animal products. And in most cases, none of that fancy stuff is necessary. When you're just getting started, you're gonna have to learn all of these new rules, the new way that things work when you're baking. It's enough newness. You do not need to add being gluten-free, sugar-free, keto, whatever it is, to the pile of new things that you need to learn here. So stay away from those recipes that require those specialized ingredients. You don't need it. You're not ready for it. Trust the process. Start with something simple and just vegan, and these are the ingredients you're actually going to need. Good old-fashioned AP flour, all-purpose flour, vegan. Sugar. Okay, now there's a little bit of a debate on sugar. Some people say sugar is not vegan. So here's the thing with that. So for sugar to have that white, crystal, beautiful color, it needs to go through a process that sometimes includes bone char. They used to be more common in the past. Most of the brands you see at supermarkets do not go through that process with bone char anymore, which is great. That makes sugar vegan. So if you're really worried, go to the brand's website and see if they use bone char in their process. You're gonna find that most of them do not. So you're in the clear with sugar. Salt. Everyone has it in their kitchen. Baking powder, baking soda, water, cornstarch, vanilla extract, cocoa powder, and if you're making breads, yeast. Now for stuff like the cocoa powder, do check the labels to make sure there's not any sneaky ingredients like milk or milk powder, which they put in everything for some reason, but most unsweetened cocoa powder will not have any of it. Just check the label to make sure. And that's pretty much it. With that list of ingredients, you can make breads, you can make cookies, you can make vegan cakes. You're all set. Except sometimes you're gonna need replacements for butter or eggs. So let's get to the replacements you might need in your ingredients list. First replacement is milk. Obviously milk is not vegan, it comes from cows. Duh. So you're gonna have to replace that with some kind of plant-based milk. Now, I have a whole playlist full of videos. I've done all kinds of tests making the same cake with almond and macadamia, oat, you name it kind of milk. I've done it. So make sure you check that playlist out. I'll put the link in the description below. My personal favorite type of vegan milk to bake with is almond milk. I think it translates super well to pretty much every recipe. It's what I use at the Curious Cat Bakery for all of the recipes. Now, whatever kind of plant-based milk you decide to choose, just always make sure it's the unsweetened variety, because if you choose a sweetened kind of milk, like a vanilla or chocolate flavored one, the added sugars in that are going to impact your recipe. As for replacing butter in recipes, I have a bunch of other videos on that as well. Again, the link will be in the description below for you to check those out. And I have said it here over and over and over again. My favorite brand for replacing butter in vegan recipes is Earth Balance. They do not pay me to say this. I'm just truly a fan. It's what I use for everything at the Curious Cat Bakery. And I've tried all of the other brands. I really think Earth Balance is the one that has the most similar texture, color, melts the same way, reacts the same way, tastes the same way. The balance of saturated and unsaturated fats, it really is the one that works best in order for you to replicate those recipes in vegan form. Now, when it comes to replacing eggs in a recipe, things get a little trickier. And yes, you guessed it, there's a whole playlist all about that and how you go about doing that in vegan recipes. The link is in the description. One more time. I think you got it by this point. So here's the thing with eggs in a recipe. It's really going to depend on that specific recipe, because you're trying to replicate a chemical reaction that was caused by the egg being there. Not so simple as just say replace one egg with one this. What you're actually going to see online though is a bunch of websites telling you replace one egg with an avocado, replace it with a banana. Don't get me started on that. You're going to notice if you hang around here a bit that I am not a huge fan of that, because everything ends up tasting like a banana, which if you like bananas is a great thing, but if you want your baked goods to taste like anything else, literally anything else, banana is not your friend for an egg replacement. Either way, another thing that you're going to see, since we're talking about obscure ingredients, is either flax eggs or chia eggs. I'm not a fan. Honestly, I just don't think they work really well, especially if you're trying to get like a fluffy, crumbly cake. That is not gonna get you that. I think there are other options. Personally, my favorites for cakes as a general rule are vinegar and baking soda to get you that height. When it comes to muffins and trying to get something that's more moist, I prefer applesauce to flax seeds. Much cheaper, easier to find, and I just think the result is better. But again, it's not as simple as choosing a one-size-fits-all. Check out that playlist for more details on that. Now, where do you find all of these ingredients? Great news. Today you can find everything that I listed, from the flour and sugar all the way to the replacements, in most supermarkets. Veganism is growing, so is the demand for these products, so most supermarkets will have all of them. You don't have to go to a specialty health food store to find them. I go to Publix here in Florida most of the time and I can find all of them, but let me know in the comments below what supermarket you usually go to and whether you're able to find it there. I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from looking at the comments and seeing the store that they usually go to listed in there as an option. Okay, now for that bonus tip of how do you pick and then make excellent starter recipes. Keep it simple, which, if you haven't noticed, is kind of the theme for today's video. Just keep it simple. Don't try to be fancy. You don't try to run a marathon before you ever run around the block. Like, start with very simple recipes and you'll be golden. Simple recipes with simple ingredients. That's going to allow you to get the hang of this whole vegan baking thing. Learn the rules, make something good, get that immediate satisfaction, actually eat the stuff that tasted good, and that's going to build your confidence and it's going to help you learn so you can work your way up to those fancy recipes with all of the expensive, obscure ingredients that you could possibly dream of. Now, I do have a video where I list my recommendations for beginner recipes that are guaranteed to succeed. Make sure you watch that next. The link's in the description below, as well as another video where I talk about my favorite brands to use as replacements for stuff from butter all the way to chocolate chips and all the things in between. So make sure you check that out as well. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It will help YouTube figure out that there's some helpful information in here and it will make it be seen by other vegans in the algorithm. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you here next week with a new video, and until then, stay curious.